Diane, thank you so much for joining me on She Talks to Angels. And I want to remind you that you are my first guest ever. So thank you
Oh,
so much for joining me.
well, Leah, thank you. I am honored, one, to be on your podcast, and two, to be the first one. How exciting is that? So, thank you so much for this invitation.
You're so very welcome. And I have to tell you that I shared this with you at lunch that when I started thinking about this series on joy, you were the first person that popped into my mind. I thought, I want to make this a series and I want to have guests. That's been the plan all along to have guests at some point. And you were
Mhm.
the first person that popped into my mind when I started thinking about joy
Oh.
because you literally emanate joy. You're always smiling and grounded and present. How do you do that?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I am honored. That just warms my heart. Thank you so
Of
much. Oh,
course.
I don't know if it's something that you're just naturally either the cup is half full or half empty. I mean, throughout my whole life, my cup has always been half full. There are times that are more challenging than others to see that, of course. I am human, but I think it's just in my nature to always be positive. I always try to find the pony in there somewhere. There's got to be a little sparkle in there in any situation, no matter how bad. There's something in there. It's just sometimes do we see it or do we not? Do we feel it? So, thank you so much for that beautiful comment. I love that. Thank you, Leah. And
Of
same with
course.
you. I feel like that's why we connected, right? You have this aura about you and this presence. When you walk in, your smile just lights up the room. So I feel that's probably why we gravitated to each other.
Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I do. I feel like it was a pretty quick connection between us, and I always love that, and I
Mhm.
always follow that, right? It's when you feel that joy and that connection, it's like they're like magnets, right? And I love
Mhm.
that. First of all, let me go back and just do a quick little
Okay.
introduction about
Oh.
you. I want to
Mhm.
let my listeners and viewers know that you are an SBA loan officer by day. You find your
Mhm.
passion in gardening, and you have a YouTube channel called Diane's Garden Inspiration, which I find joy in, and I find calm in the middle of the night when I cannot sleep, as I shared with you before. And just so you know, everyone, I'll link that Diane's YouTube channel in the show notes. So, how did you get started on this path to joy? You felt joy, you felt connected to it. What made you look at that as something that you wanted to engage in and bring more joy into your life through?
Well, it wasn't planned at all. It was a different season of my life that I was going through, and I was in need of an escape and started working in my garden, not because I enjoyed it, not because I wanted to, because I had to. I had to get it cleaned up. We were going to have a party and it was looking horrible and it needed some love. So as I was out there cleaning and pulling weeds and and just not enjoying it at all, gardening found me. The more time I spent out there, the more time I wanted to spend time. And I just found healing through the garden and joy in gardening as I was watching things become from an eyesore to something beautiful and how things were evolving right before my eyes and how I felt being in the garden. It was I wanted more of it. And so I started breaking my garden into sections and just redoing these spots and I just couldn't I was already envisioning the next spot and wanting to do more. And there was so much healing that happened through that garden. I mean, I sometimes think back to my gardening days when I first started. I mean, there's a lot of tears in my garden, and I think, sometimes people say, well, your soil is magic. I'm like, it's soil, but maybe it's been sprinkled or fertilized with the tears, with the love that and the healing that it's brought to me. It's just didn't plan it, never would have imagined myself being a gardener. And yet here I am. And so going back to, the COVID days, right, when we're all shut down, I turned to YouTube and I was watching other gardeners and I was learning from other gardeners and I was being inspired. And that's where started learning and growing as a gardener. And then as time evolved, I had more and more people tell me, you should do a YouTube. You need to do a YouTube. I'm like, no, first of all, I'm not getting on camera. I'm not doing this. No way. This is not me. I'm too private. Heck no. But then I started like, it was heavy on my heart. And I could just, I don't know if it was God that put it on my heart or well, I know it was because I prayed about it so much. I'm like, I didn't want to come across as showing off. I didn't want to come across as, look at what I'm doing. Look at this. I wanted to come across as paying it forward because I had been inspired by so many other gardeners. I wanted to pay it forward. Maybe I was going to help someone. Maybe that one person needed to hear my story. So I took a leap of faith and I recorded that first video. And it's been so much fun and so much growth through the whole process.
Oh, I love that so much. And I love that you stumbled into this, what has turned out to be a lifelong passion for joy and integrating that into
Mhm.
your life. How do you think that serves us in this time? Like, we were talking before we started recording about people push back when you talk about joy. Like, things are too heavy to feel joy, things are too complicated. Like, how do we, why would we get to feel joy? And I feel like, as I said in my intro episode, like we need that more now than ever. We have got to tap into joy because we got to keep our energy and our vibration up. I really believe that. If we fall down into that pit and that negative energy, not that we don't, because we do, we're human, but buoying ourselves back up, I think that helps all of us. That helps all of us in the collective because like, we're all connected, I believe, right? So, why do you think it's so important to not only connect to that joy and whatever it is? It doesn't have to be one thing, it could be something every day. Why do you think that's so important right now?
Well, sometimes, like you mentioned, the world can be heavy, right? The world can be heavy. There's so much things going on. And sometimes we just need that little escape for our own health, our own mindset, our own well being. And like you mentioned, sometimes it can feel guilty, right? You feel guilty that there's so much going on. And how can I now show up on YouTube and just talk about these beautiful gardens and this beautiful thing when the world is so heavy and dark at times? But I feel like we have to choose to see the light. We have to choose to keep pushing forward. And there's always going to be bad, there's always going to be heavy and sad things happening, but life can still be beautiful. Life is a gift. And if we, the more joy that we look for, the more joy we'll find. And if I can be just a little piece, I'm going to give you an example. There's a little lady that goes to our church, and she has been watching my YouTube, but she has been ill and homebound. Well, yesterday, after missing mass for a few weeks, she was in church, and the first thing she said was, "Diane, I am enjoying your YouTube videos so much." And I was like, "There, even if I made that video just for her, that's enough." We could only do our little part in the world to try to sprinkle some joy. So,
Ah,
that really touched me when that was the first thing she said. I was just like, I wanted to hear about her and how she was doing and so happy to see her. And that was her first thing was like, I am enjoying your videos so much. Like, that's why we do what we do.
and do you almost feel like that is like a little validation? I feel like for me, when I have like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go on with this or that, or I don't know if this is really the right time for it. Oftentimes, I ask the universe, okay, if this is for me, come on, let me know. I feel like that
Yeah.
might be something like that because I remember you and I were at a women's conference recently together, and someone you had never met before recognized you from your YouTube channel and came up to you and was sharing her joy in that. So what did that feel like in terms of joy?
Oh my gosh. First of all, it's kind of like surreal. It's like, oh my gosh, this is weird, right? Like, she's like, oh my gosh, I see you on YouTube. Like, okay, that's kind of weird. Now I'm a little embarrassed. But now I find that we need to get this out. We need to spread this. We need to, um, and sometimes we have a plan on how things are going to go and it detours. And I feel like God says, nope, you know what? We're going to go this way today. I'll share this story with you. Well, back to the lady, she was incredible. Like, she was I not only excited and everything, but she gave me some really good I asked for her feedback, and she gave me this great idea. And it was like, you need a theme song. I'm like, you're right, I don't have a theme song. Something I never even thought of. So I thank her for that. But I'll share a story. There was an apricot farmer that had their contract. They lost their contract, so they had all this fruit on the trees, and my it was on the news. My sister saw it on the news, and so we were going out there to go help them and buy a couple cases of apricots just to do our little part in it. But I told my sister, you know what? I'm going to take my camera with me. Got out there, did a little video, got her to talk and explain her story. I had one viewer that watched that video that made a difference. I mean, who knows? There might have been more that went out there and bought apricots that I don't know about. But I am blessed to know that this person went out there, bought 50 cases themselves to give out and share and get the word out, but then connected them with the company that went and bought a ton of apricots to give out at the schools
Mm,
to feed the students. And to know that that came from my little YouTube channel is so inspiring. And that's why I say, we do what we do, we keep showing up. We don't know who needs to hear the message, we don't know who we're going to touch, but just keep showing up and everything else will fall into place.
mm. I love that so much. And it, I mean, I feel joy all the time when I'm with you and talking to you. And in that moment, I just felt overwhelmed with joy because it reinforces so much of what I believe and what I know you believe is that we are all connected, right? So your
Mhm,
one little video, it probably wasn't
mhm.
very long. It was probably just like, you're on the field with your phone and whatever. It doesn't, that's the
Yeah,
thing is we don't have to be perfect, especially as women, we struggle with that so hard. Like, oh my gosh, we can't do that. I don't have makeup on, all of the things, right? But you
right.
just put it out there and look at what happened because we're
Mhm,
connected and we need each other. And that is one
mhm,
example of not only how you made a tremendous impact on that family's life and their lives, but you brought joy to them because they were probably so overwhelmed by all of this that they were, I don't know, I can only imagine
mhm,
that. I
mhm,
want to circle back to something you said earlier about finding
mhm,
joy in every day. Aside from your
mhm,
gardening and your garden and your yard garden is beautiful, watch her YouTube channel and you will see it among other beautiful gardens. And
mhm.
how do you find joy in your day every day? Because I can't imagine that working in your day job there are a lot of obvious points for joy. So how do you do that?
Well, it starts in the first thing in the morning, right? Right in the morning, when you jump out of bed, I start with my prayers and coffee. And I've learned that, and I don't know where I heard this, but we take some things sometimes for granted, like our morning coffee. I actually pause and enjoy that first gulp. I enjoy that first sip and let it just like I pause and like really feel that first. And then I go throughout my day. So first thing in the morning, right? And if I have a meeting or I make sure that I get up in time so that I can get my morning prayers done first because that is so important to me. Asking for God's guidance, God's direction, lead me to whoever I can help today. Through my work, I am very fortunate that I can touch lives of people. I help business owners realize their dreams. I help them get into their properties, help their business that's helping families. It's like a trickle effect, right? Right. I'm helping the owner that's got employees, and every employee has a family. So my little part in that, I feel like is helping. So there's joy there. Um, Sometimes it's just a matter of going out and watering a plant and hearing the birds and feeling the sun on your skin and just actually appreciating it. Because I could just go outside and give these plants water really quick, but be in the moment. I think that's something that I've learned through my life. As a young mom, like you, right? We just do what we have to do and we hustle and we go and we're juggling, right? We're jugglers. But I've learned through the years to stop, be present, be in the moment, whatever it is. Sometimes, that the house is noisy. I've got nieces and nephews and the kids and everybody's out and about. And I just sit back and I'm like, this is beautiful chaos. Beautiful chaos. I love the sound. I love the energy. Just take it in. I do that at events too, like networking events that we go to. Sometimes I just pause and I just look at and oversee the room and just feel the energy, feel the positive, hear the laughter, the conversation, and that just feeds me.
I love that so much. And it just the simple things, right? And I am exactly in the same place. Like I held up my if you're watching on YouTube, you saw me hold up my cup of coffee, and that's something that I have evolved into as well. And it wasn't like that for many decades because I was so much on autopilot, right? You just get your coffee to go and you get in the
Mhm.
car and you get the kid in the car and go and all of the things that
Yeah.
you miss out on those
Mhm.
moments. And that is something that I think is so huge and many people would look at processing loans and whatever, and not necessarily in the same way that you do, right? You're looking at it as a part of serving people and helping make their dreams come
Mhm.
true. I've never heard any loan officer say that before. So that to me
Yeah.
validates the fact that you are coming from that place and you're looking for all of those things that bring you joy, which I believe
Mhm.
allows us to see them. If you're alert and paying attention, and looking for
Mhm.
things that make you smile and enjoy, they're going to show up, right? As
Mhm.
opposed to just
Yeah.
being robotic. And there are times for that in life, I think, when your kids are little, especially as a single mom and you're running around. And like I said, I was on
Oh.
autopilot for, many hours every single day, just getting
Mhm.
her dropped off and then her, to school and daycare. And then me going on, I was running companies and doing that and then picking her up and doing all of the extracurriculars and the thing you had two girls so you know how that
Yeah.
goes as well and so I feel
Absolutely.
like just the presence and the intentionality changes everything. So can you tell me about when you last I love you. Thank you for sharing. First of all, I want to thank you for sharing your practice or ritual in the morning because I think that's important. So I want to encourage
Mhm.
listeners to remember that because I've talked on my podcast often about starting your day with intention. And even if it's just a
Mhm.
few minutes, being present and changing that energy from, oh my gosh, I have to leap out of bed and I have to. Instead, it's I get to get
Yeah.
up and go downstairs or go to the kitchen and have my coffee and it's the coffee that I love, and it's the creamer that I love, in the mug that I love. Even if I only have
Mhm.
10 minutes to drink it, I'm going to be present for those 10 minutes. And then I get to go and get ready, and I get to go to a job that helps me support myself and my family. I get to go into my office and work with my clients as a business, whatever it is. Be
Mhm.
present for it, right? And set your own rituals and your own routine in order to support that. So, thank you for pointing that out. I want to switch
Absolutely.
gears a little bit and ask
Mhm.
you, I really feel like there are moments for all of us that just hit us out of nowhere, right? Like we just feel, I feel like it's a bolt, a lightning bolt of radiant energy that just brings you joy. And it can come from so many different places, right? It's not something you're planning, you're just tooling along in your day. When is the last time you felt that radiant joy? And what sparked it within you?
Oh my gosh, well, that's easy. So yesterday I was part of I attended the Oakdale Garden Club there where gardeners opened up their gardens. And it was the little moments of there's a beautiful bloom and the sun was shining on it just perfect. And I go and I capture that and it just warms my heart, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful shot. It's so pretty." And mind you, I have this huge, beautiful garden behind me and all this stuff, but it's that one little spot that the sun is shining on just perfectly, and it just brings me so much joy. Or there's a bumblebee on a flower. It's the simple little things. It's the seeing the gardeners sitting there talking to other people and so proud to share their gardens and feel the love and the connection between that conversation and see it and experience it from the outside. It's the little things like that. It's being able to take my mom with me on that garden tour and us, stopping and having lunch and spending time with her and creating those memories with her that I know I'm going to treasure forever. I guess it's just, like you said, being intentional, being present, because I feel that we can get so busy, especially, like you said, we've been there. We've been where it's like, okay, I have to do this. And it's just juggling. And I'm like, sometimes I wake up and I'm a to do list person. I always have a list. And sometimes the list is so big and so long. And I'm like, there's no way I can get this all done. How am I going to do this? Okay, God, I'm going to need some help here. Lead me the way. And just let it be your will, and whatever needs to get done will get done. And it somehow, some way, things get done. So I know back to your question, it's like, I think it's just a matter of being present. Whether it's your kids that are playing and just sitting there watching them and take in that moment because today's moment is tomorrow's memory. Like my mom and I having lunch yesterday, that moment is going to be tomorrow's memory.
Mm,
And so just take it in and create that for yourself.
wow.
It doesn't cost anything and it's priceless.
Right. Right. And I think that, I mean, I 100% agree with you. And I feel like as we've gotten older, that's something that we've been able to embrace more wholly. And so like I really when I work with younger women and when I'm talking with younger women, facilitating meetings with younger women, I try and infuse that kind of connection and information in everything that I do, right? It's like no matter what
Mhm.
your age, sometimes, especially when your kids are little. I mean, I keep going back to the kid example, but it's the same whether you have kids or not. When you're younger, you're just pedal to the metal. You're starting your career, you're trying to fit it all in, you're especially in this day and age, trying to make rent or trying to save for a house or what all of the things. There's so much pressure and it's so difficult. So how to just sit in the moment and be present. And that happens when you're not feeling joy also. You still need to sit in the moment and process it, right? So
Mhm.
I love that
Mhm.
you're calling that to the forefront because I believe no matter what our age is, that is key because otherwise you miss so much. I
Absolutely.
have some lavender in my front yard and I have a couple of chairs and I go out there and sit in the sun and have some coffee
Mhm.
sometimes. And in the spring when the lavender is blooming, the bees just hover,
Mhm.
as you know. It's one of the bee
Mhm.
tractors or whatever you call them,
Yes.
pollinators, and I just love
Yes.
it. I just love it.
Mhm.
And people are like, "Oh my gosh, are you scared of the bees?" I'm like, "No, are you kidding me? They're doing their job and it makes me so happy to
Yeah.
watch that." So I just how would you encourage someone who may be at a different stage in life to embrace that habit and embody that habit when they're, younger than we are and they haven't had the experiences that we have yet?
First thing I would say is give yourself grace. Give yourself some grace. You are doing so much, and especially moms of younger children, and you're pulled in so many different directions, and you're just exhausted. You're tired, and you've got this long list and so much that didn't get done. Be proud of what you did get done. Focus on those accomplishments. Um, when and I will share this with all these younger moms out there. I wish that I would have had a garden when my girls were little because I was too busy. I didn't have taking care of the home, juggling work, family, all that stuff. I wish I would have made time to have even just a barrel with some sweet peas or cherry tomatoes just to see because now my nieces, they're younger, and they love to come and spend time in my garden, and I see how much joy they have out there, running around barefoot and going and picking tomatoes and eating them right off the vine. I wish I would have made time for that when my girls were little. And again, we're doing the best we can. We give ourselves grace. And if you can't, that's okay. But if I could inspire a young mom to just start a little garden and let your kids get their hands dirty and just be kids, do a little fairy garden. I started
Mm.
just buying little things, little pieces, and my nieces spend hours out there playing with that fairy garden. And just sit back and I'm busy doing my things in the garden, but I'll just sneak over and look at them. I'm like, that's what kids are supposed to do. There's no iPad, there's no phone, there's no, distraction. They're just being kids. I feel like we need more of that.
I love that so
It's
much. And it exemplifies what you said, right? Simple. It doesn't have to be fancy. And what I said too, like you don't have
yeah,
to be perfect. Buy a bucket
yeah,
of dirt, buy a barrel of dirt. Doesn't have to be expensive.
mhm,
You can buy one plant that's already grown and just let the girls or your children or just plant it yourself and get your hands in the dirt because that is
yeah,
therapeutic. And then you have something to tend to and your children have something
mhm.
to tend to and watch. I love that so much. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And how fun is it to like plant a seed and then watch that seed grow and just it's so rewarding,
Yes.
not just for you, but your children as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if even one mom out there takes that recommendation and does that, that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Oh, I love that so much. Absolutely
Mhm,
right. Absolutely right. Thank you
mhm,
so much.
mhm.
Okay, so you are the first guest in the series. What I'm going to do at the end of our time together, I'm going to have what I call the final three for all guests. And at some point, I'll probably do a compilation of those responses and put that as an episode. And so I have three questions that I'm asking all of my guests, and I've already asked you one, but I'm going to ask it again because I want
Oh,
to make sure that they're all together at the end of the interviews. Oh, guys, I got excited and went with the flow, and I forgot that it was already on the list. But hello. So the
we
first,
go with the flow. That's
that's
another
right.
thing. Go with the flow. Go
Be
with the flow.
present and be in the moment, and just yes, exactly. So
Yes.
the first question is, do you feel joy even just a little every day, and how do you do it?
Oh, yes, of course, absolutely. And you just gotta find it in the little things, right? Like I said, it could be the cup of coffee and enjoying that first sip. Stop, be present, and just take in that first sip. Be present in your prayers, whatever it is that you do, meditation, whatever it is. For me, it's my prayers and actually being present. I'm not checking my phone, I'm not checking emails, I'm being present, and for me, that's where I find my joy.
I love that so much. Thank you. Question number two: if joy were a whisper and they were to whisper a message to you today, what would she say?
Keep sharing, keep inspiring. Joy would say, there's someone out there that needs to hear it. Sometimes it's myself. Like, I don't even know that I needed to do this or hear this, or that I needed to spend time in the garden, or that I just needed to stroll in a garden center. But keep sharing, keep showing up for each other.
Mm, I love that. I'm going to go off script a little bit and ask you, how can we do that? Like how, we're putting ourselves in positions where we can do that. How does the average person do that? The average woman that, goes to her 9 to 5 job, has family responsibilities or not, is involved in her community. How do we do that?
Sometimes it's just 2 minutes, right? Sometimes, you say everybody's good. You can make 5 minutes for anything, right? But I feel like sometimes even 5 minutes feels like a lot. Like, I don't know if I could give this 5 minutes. So do 2 minutes. Go walk outside. Go watch the sunset. Go just walk barefoot on your grass just for 2 minutes. Give yourself time to breathe. Sometimes we just need to breathe. And like, I know that there's breathing exercises and everything that you can do, but sometimes just give yourself 2 minutes, whether it's sitting in the car, right? You get home from work and just 2 minutes in the car to just breathe before you go in and face, dinner and the kids and homework and all that. Just give yourself 2 minutes and be present.
I love that so much. Thank you so much. The last question in the final three: if you could leave my listeners with one message today, what would it be?
I think it would be, well, your segment on joy is just beautiful. It's such a simple 3-letter word. And regardless of what it is, you can bring joy to anything, right? Whether it's Christmas, a birthday, every day. I think that it would be joy grows when we share it. So share joy. Whether it's someone in the office that's having a birthday, whether it's a mom that just needs a hug, whether it's, someone at the grocery store that you let go ahead of you, share joy.
Wow.
Joy grows when we share it.
That is a mic drop moment for this entire episode.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
how many times have you had just like a complete stranger do something for you and you're like, you know what? That's a nice person.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, even like you're getting ready to get into the car wash and the cars are all trying to get in first. And like, you know what? Just go. And someone lets you go first. Like, wow. Little do they know that. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that. And I think we don't think about it as spreading joy or even necessarily make an impact. And I say often, like just smiling at someone, I'm a big
Mhm.
smiler and I'm walking around smiling most of the time as well. And sometimes
Yeah,
people like are like visibly surprised, like, oh, she's smiling at me. And so then they smile back or they don't, but
yeah,
they don't necessarily automatically respond or holding the door, like you said, and the paying it forward of all of the things, right? Pay for someone's
yeah,
coffee or all of
yeah,
the examples. So I love that so much
yeah,
because,
and
oh,
I feel like sometimes people are going through things we have no idea, right? They could have had just a really bad day at work or with their family, or they're going through something health wise. You never know what someone's going through, and everybody has their story. Everybody has something that is heavy on their heart, and so you never know how you can touch someone by just a smile.
I love
You
that.
never know.
I love that so much. Well, I want to thank you so much for being my first guest ever and for sharing your joy and your infectious energy with all of us because that is a true gift. And I feel like you share that with everyone you encounter just by being who you are. So thank you for that.
Oh,
And I'm so grateful.
thank you. Thank you, Leah, for what you're doing. I mean, this podcast and just getting out positivity and encouragement to not just the young moms of the world, but everybody in the world. I feel like anybody and everybody can get something from your podcasts, and you're making a difference. So thank you for doing this and for having me on here. I appreciate that so much. The invitation is very heartwarming that you thought of me. So thank you. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite anyone that is interested in gardening or just needs little inspiration to check out my YouTube channel. It's Diane's Garden Inspiration, and whether it's just really quick while you're getting ready in the morning or at 2 o'clock in the morning when you can't sleep, whatever it is, if I can be a little inspiration to you, I would love to be able to do that. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I was going to say that, but you did a much better job of it. And just for you, all of you listeners or watchers, a link to her YouTube channel will be in the show notes. And she's absolutely right. It can just even or especially when you're feeling like, it's just a delight. So again, thank you so much, and listeners, big love to all of you, and we'll see you again soon.